So let me take you back to 3 years ago when I was struggling with my business, feeling burnt out and on the verge of quitting. I used to sit for hours and watch videos just like this one on how I could get more clients or even just deal with all of the stress that came from running an advertising agency. But the answer came to me when I attended a mastermind in London. And I would meet other agency owners who were making what I would make in a single year in 1 month. And at first, I'll be honest, it was really intimidating. But the more time I spent with these people, the more I started to pick up on the little things, such as how calm and collective they were, how highly they spoke of themselves, and just how confidently they carried themselves in their day to day. And that's when it hit me. If I wanted to reach that level, I had to stop waiting for proof and start acting as if I already was that type of person. And it was this shift in my mindset that flipped my entire business around and honestly my whole life. So this big mindset shift that I'm going to be breaking down in this video is simply acting as if you are already the type of person you want to be. And no, this isn't about lying to yourself or pretending to be someone you're not. A lot of people get stuck in this roadblock of thinking, am I not just faking it? But this is all about practicing the qualities you're growing into with confidence and discipline. And this allows you to essentially evolve into that type of person you want to become. So when you start to go through this metamorphosis, it feels natural. Now, in my case, this was acting like a six-figure agency owner, but I've applied it to all areas of my life. So once I actually embodied this new identity, I then started to act differently. And that action was aligned with this new identity that I wanted to bring into the material world, into the physical world. Okay, so now you get the idea of what this mindset shift is. How do we actually apply it in practical terms in your day-to-day life? Well, the way that I started to apply this, and I still do, is twofold. So I already had in my mind this ideal of what a six-figure agency owner would look like, how they would behave, how they would carry themselves, etc. And based on this, I got crystal clear on this new persona that I wanted to embody. Now you can think of this like an upgraded version of yourself, like a 2.0 that has all of the behaviors, characteristic traits that you want to have in this newer version of you. Then I would simply wake up each day and start acting as if I already was that person. And by doing this, I was literally taking the actions that were congruent to this new identity and started to bring that reality into the physical world. So for example, I was waking up way earlier. I was doing outreach way more aggressively, and I was cutting out distractions ruthlessly. Those were things I knew the six-figure version of me or that identity would be doing. So I just simply adopted that right there and then instead of waiting for it to happen. And one thing I noticed very quickly happened is that this created a sort of positive feedback loop in my brain. And that's because I was behaving like I was a six-figure agency owner already. This confirmed the belief in my head that I'm acting like one. So it would confirm the more emotional and the logical side, and my actions would reflect it. So those three things just kept tying into one another, and they kept building on top of one another. And it just creates this positive reinforcement that cements the identity within your subconscious mind and then ultimately your conscious mind. Now, I'm well aware this might sound a bit weird for some people who are watching this, but the reality was when I started to act as if I already was the person I wanted to be, so a six-figure agency owner, that reality started to materialize and crystallize in the real world. Now, the big key here within this mindset shift is being consistent. You need to let the effort and the fruits of those daily tasks compound and build up, because what this allows you to do is phase out that old identity while you're phasing into your new identity. And this happens almost subconsciously because of the feedback loop that I talked about a second ago. Okay, so what is the second way that you can apply this mindset shift? So what I found out is being around other agency owners who are at that level I wanted to be allowed me to pick up on their traits, their habits, their characteristics, which then pretty much showed me how I need to behave, because I was able to see a real life concrete version of this ideal version of myself, or an example of it anyway, in other people. And what I would simply do is emulate the parts of their behavior that I knew would help me achieve my goal. So for example, I would look at their daily habits, their problem solving skills, and even just their day-to-day sort of routine, what they would do. And again, I would just take the parts that fitted into my mold, into my ideal version, and emulate them. And by simply being around these people, it gave me almost proof of concept, because I was able to see, well, okay, if someone else has done it, I can do it. Now, if you are watching this and don't have anyone around you or is in your immediate circle that is at that level in business that you want to be, I have the solution for you. You can find these people who you look up to on YouTube or any other social media platform for that matter, and just study them. What you want to do is consume their content and get a real understanding of how they think, how they problem solve, and how they face challenges. And what will happen over time is you'll begin to absorb their thought processes, which will feed into your behavior of how you want to act in this sort of ideal version of yourself. Now, you want to apply a mixture of these, but always start with the ideal version you have of yourself in your own head. And that's because this is going to be the purest version of that ideal self. So what I did is sit down with a pad and a pen and think, okay, how would a six-figure version or six-figure agency owner version of me act and behave? So for example, how would I run the day-to-day tasks within my business? How would I carry myself on sales calls, knowing that I don't really have this dependency on the client because I'm absolutely fine? How would I just carry myself in general, just, whether it's in health, going to the gym, etc. And then the next thing I did was look around in my own circle and online to see the people that I knew or I could find online that actually aligned with this version. And what I like about this approach is that the first version gives me the ideal, so the version that I'm achieving, that I'm striving to, and that I'm acting like. And then the second version gives me the concrete reality, so the confirmation that it is achievable. And by the way, you don't have to look for one single person who embodies all of these qualities. Someone could embody 20%, another person could embody 80% of those qualities, right? You're just looking for someone who has those ideals, and then you can simply just copy how they got there. That's really all it is in a nutshell. So the truth is, you don't need to wait until you're successful to act successful. You start to embody success now, and success has no choice but to follow and catch up with you. So if this video really hit home with you, I would strongly recommend applying that twofold approach that I've detailed in this video. Define the ideal version of yourself, then look for the concrete evidence in the real world. All right, so thank you very much. Appreciate you watching the video. As always, any questions, do let me know in the comments. Free Google Ads course in the description. I'll see you in the next one.